This is the business of art. Hey, welcome to the business of art. Tonight I want to talk about leverage, specifically in regards to the cost of producing. As independent artists, we often don't have any money. We're all generally working some kind of day job or something like that, and siphoning money across to try and fund our art. But recently I got a phone call from an actor friend of mine who asked if he could basically have an hour of my time to talk about a short film that he's producing and how to make some money for it. So we had a really good chat, and right now I'm producing the Brisbane Theatre Awards, which are called the Matilda Awards, and we're embarking on a couple of little fundraising activities there to try and grow the income for the event, so we can just really continue to drive the quality of that event and grow it over the next few years. I like to break this down into essentially 3 points. What can I get for free? What can I get discounted? Or what can I get someone else to pay for? So if you think about it in terms of those 3 points, it kind of covers the gamut of the possible fundraising options. So let's start with free. So one of the things that I will do if I've got my script, I will break the script down and look at all of the things that we need for that, and really just start thinking about who could supply that and who might be willing to loan it to us, who might be willing to give it to us. And then obviously I've got to look at what that value could be in return for them. So one example of that was in 2004, I co-created, executive produced and directed a series of 6 10-minute episodes of a sitcom concept called The Flats. We had a little production team on that shoot, and they did an amazing job. They were so good. And the producer on that did a fantastic job of securing a whole range of stuff that we needed for free. So for every single character, we wanted a different stylistic look. And so what we did was we hit up as many clothing stores in the city as we could and basically tried to convince them to give us a whole range of clothing on loan for free for our shoot, so that we could dress our characters very specifically to a style. So each character ended up with their own clothing store that they were fitted from. So it made them really diverse in their appearance, and it didn't cost us anything. Now, we're really lucky that at the time there was a TV show called The Short Film Distillery, which was being aired on Bris 31, which was Brisbane's community television station back then. And we managed to secure our 6 episodes being world premiered on that television show. So that was a really great leverage point for us to be able to come back to these stores with. So by having that, we then dug deeper and got the demographic of the television station, and then I dug even deeper and got the specific rating numbers, not only for the station but for the specific show, so that we could put that hard data on a letter, and when we went and visited these stores we were able to give them this information. Obviously we also had to take good care of the gear, make sure that we didn't return it damaged, anything like that. We would have had to have paid for any of that sort of thing. But yeah, so that's what we did, and I've done that repeatedly for pretty much every show I've ever worked on. So I've gotten literally thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment, clothing, costumes, props, things that we needed for shoots, all for free on the back of that kind of leverage concept of here's the exposure that you're going to get for your business, as opposed to what you're going to give us, that we're going to give back to you. We're not even taking it and keeping it. You're still going to be able to sell it. Some of the other things that we managed to get for that shoot was we shot for 14 days, and we shot for 10 days out of 14, and for 7 of those 10 days we were shooting internals, and we needed apartments for those. And so we managed to secure 7 days at the Astor Apartments in the Brisbane city, in Spring Hill, for the internal shoot. So they gave us 2 rooms over the 7 days that we could shoot in, so we had a little bit of diversity, and we used all sorts of different angles in those rooms to create the appearance of different apartments for the different characters. That was thousands and thousands of dollars worth of accommodation that they gave us for free. Now, there were some things happening from their end as well at the time. We managed to hit them at a lucky point where they'd just changed management. They were trying to really ramp up a little bit more of a quality feel about the apartments. They'd had a bit of a bad name before. They were looking to, improve the reputation. So there was all these things that played into our hands to be able to secure that. So we were able to shoot all of our internal sequences plus a pool party that we needed for the shoot up on their pool deck, all for free. Hilarious sideline, the Bank of Queensland hired the roof of their building around the same time for $400 an hour to shoot one of their TV ads. And the guy that ran the place came down and said to us, so how much are you guys getting paid? And we're like, well, nothing. We're all just graduated students. We're doing this all for free. We're doing this to try and, build some profile up. And that blew his mind. He couldn't understand that we had all this equipment that was out of my pocket. I paid for it all. The whole shoot, I paid for it. He just couldn't wrap his head around it. The important thing is to know what your leverage points are. Do not talk about potential exposure as tangible, real exposure, because it's not. We could talk about the real exposure because we had secured a spot on that television show. We knew the ratings and we could say, look, this is actually the hard data from the TV station. But if you're making a short film and you are hoping that it gets accepted into film festivals around the world, don't talk like it has been accepted. Don't talk like it will be seen, because right now you don't know. So just be real and be honest and use the truth to your advantage. Talk about the fact that, you're trying to make a name for yourself. You're trying to get out there. You're trying to do it yourself. You're paying for everything yourself. You've got no money. You're doing it on a shoestring. Often that honesty and that raw truth really plays on the heartstrings of some people, and they're willing to give you a go. So you just got to try it. Where I can't get it for free, I will absolutely shamelessly ask for a discount. I have gotten hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars off of products that we needed. I managed to secure a massive discount off all of the wood that we needed for a set for one of the ACPA shows, just purely by asking, really. And again, just being really honest and said, look, it's a student production. We don't have a big budget. We're trying to do what we can. And they managed to flip us a bit of a discount, which helped. Everything helps. Every dollar you save is going to help. Why not? What's the worst that's going to happen? Someone says no. Who cares? Just go and knock on the next door. There's literally hundreds of suppliers that you can hit up. The third thing that I like to look at is, how do I get somebody else to pay for it? So there's a couple of ways to do this. So obviously your crowdfunding platforms are one really simple way to generate a bit of profile and a bit of conversation. You get to actually sit and write out what it is you're trying to achieve and what you're going to spend the money on. Be careful not to overextend your desire in that. I've seen a lot of people go $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for something, and their network of people that they're tapping into isn't going to be able to supply that amount of money. The reality is that very few people will share those posts for you. That's just people behavior. That's just how we are. So you'll have a few people that will share it, but don't bank on a lot of people sharing it, because it just doesn't happen. I've run a couple of successful crowdfunding campaigns, and I strategically kept the amount of money that I was looking for low. I'm talking, around the sort of $2,000 mark, to pay for specific things. So it seemed like I got a better response when people could see that we're trying to pay for a portion of the overall project, and that they were paying for something very specific in that process, as opposed to just a global amount of money coming in to try and fund the whole project. I just seem to have had better traction at that smaller level. There is an excitement that comes towards the end of those when you can start talking about the fact we're almost there, we've almost made the money that we're looking for, let's kick it past, let's go even further, let's get harder about making more cash so that we can fund this project and whatever. So there's a whole kind of strategic thinking that goes around those things as well. Another way to get somebody else to pay for what you need is if you have something specific that you need to pay to buy that you can't get from, say, a normal department store, go back and try and get those gift vouchers or something from those stores, or get donations from stores. It doesn't even matter what it is. It's just about having a prize pool. So I will go and hit as many places up as I can to get something for free and raffle that off. And then, you can use these things that are of no use to you to generate cash amongst your network. Get a few $100 in for that and buy the thing that you need. So someone else has paid for that item for you. Often with the big retailers, they will only work in some kind of not-for-profit situation. So it's a bit hit and miss sometimes with what it is. But you can sometimes get just straight out donations, which I've done before as well. Of course, sponsorship is always another one. So really thinking about, you're not going to go to Coca-Cola and get them to give you $10,000 unless you've got a massive audience behind you already. It's just not going to happen. So you've got to find businesses or people that are funded up enough that they can happily pay as sponsors. But you got to find businesses that are at the right size for the work that you're doing and the level that you're working at. So a lot of really good opportunities come through places like small to medium accountancy firms, small lawyer firms, that kind of thing. And so many lawyers and people in law have a massive interest in the arts. And so often you can get people really interested in film projects through the law sector. But, targeting specifically that kind of size organisation, you may be able to go bigger and get, some bigger firms. And I'm not saying to not do that. I'm just saying be realistic about how you target that. But I would ultimately go back to them and actually ask them what would be of value to you, rather than guessing and hoping and offering this essentially free service of putting, anyone can put them on social media. So if you actually flip that and seek to understand, rather than try and assume what might be of value to them, go to them and say, look, obviously you're a small company. We'd love you to sponsor us, whatever. But if you were to do that, what would you find valuable? What would be of value to you in the return? What could we do for you that you would find of value for the amount of money that you're going to give us? And talk that through and really actually have that conversation. It might be that they actually want to come out and have, their whole team come out and be on set one day and have lunch with you as an experience for their team, as a team building kind of thing, and getting them to see something that they might never get to see otherwise. For me, ultimately, it comes down to those three things. Can I get it for free? Can I get it for a discount? Or can I get someone else to pay for it? If you think about your fundraising, if you think about your leverage in those sorts of terms, the world could be your oyster. See you next time. Like, share, comment, all that crap. You know what I mean? Thanks.